The copy job in Microsoft Fabric is an amazing item that simplifies data ingestion by allowing users to move data effortlessly from any source to any destination without needing to create complex data pipelines. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can architect data copying from on-premise SQL Server to Fabric SQL Database using full copy mode in Fabric Copy Item. So let's get started. This is going to be part of our DP 700 exam preparation. So the first thing we need to do is to download and install the on-premises data gateway, which acts as a bridge between the on-premises SQL Server and Microsoft Fabric, enabling secure and efficient data transfer without requiring inbound connections to the network. So to download, I'm going to click this icon here, and then I'm going to see the download data gateway. Click on that. This is going to open in a separate tab. Now we need to download the standard, not the personal. So once you click on this, you're going to see the download, and they can just run the installation. So it's really straightforward. Now I'm going to quickly come here, and I can see I've got this on-premises data gateway, and of course the status is always available for me. So you need to sign in. If you need to do that, click on the sign in, provide all your details, and once you provide all of this, they should be up and running. Now I'm going to quickly come back here and show you where this can be found. I'm going to go to this, my settings, and I can go to the manage connections and gateways. And I'm going to come to the on-premises data gateways, and I can see this Cornerstone Analytics, and this is already up and running. So the status is online, which is absolutely cool. Now I'm going to come back to this DP 700 exam preparation workspace, and I'm going to create the copy job item. So click on this new item, and then click on this copy job. Click on that, and I'm going to call this one on-premise SQL Server to Fabric SQL, and then I'm going to click the create. Okay, so we're going to see this copy job window, which allows us to easily perform all of this operation. Now we need to choose the data source. So we've got a lot of data sources like the SQL Server, Azure SQL Database, Oracle, and so on and so forth. We have quite a lot of options here, which is fine. But we want to focus on the SQL Server database. So click on that. Now, I'm going to quickly come to my on-premise and show you my SQL Server tables. So I've got this Abiola David01 as the server name, and I've got lots of databases, but we want to focus on migrating the data or copy the data from this sales database, which are the employee records and the transactions. Now, I'm going to right-click on this DBO transaction and just select the top 1000 rows, so we can see the content. We've got all of these columns, the row ID, the order date, and so on and so forth. I'm going to right click on the employee records and select the top 1000 rows, and you can see we have the employee ID, employee name, gender, and so on and so forth. So basically we want to just copy the two tables in this sales database, and then I'm going to use my Abiola David01 as my server name. So I'm going to come back here, and I want to make sure that my gateway is up and running, which is of course done. So I'm going to type in my server here, which is Abiola David, and I'm going to type in 01, and I'm going to type in the name of the specific database I want to copy data from. This is going to be sales, as I mentioned, and of course I'm going to click on this. Let me just show you the whole thing. So we can change this to something meaningful. I can call this one on-premise connection. And once I'm fine, I'm going to choose this data gateway because we are getting data from the on-premise to the cloud. So I want to make sure that my Cornerstone Analytics data gateway is selected, which is really important. And then we've got this authentication kinds such as the Windows, Basic, and Service Principal. Now the most easiest is the Basic, so I'm going to just use that. And then for the username, I'm going to type in the username that is associated with my on-premise SQL Server, which is the SA. So I'm going to type that in here. Now you can always come back here. I'm going to quickly turn this off, disconnect. I'm going to try to reconnect, and then you need to find this. This is your username, whatever it says username, and then I'm going to type in my password. I can see this server name. That's cool. So come back here, and I'm going to type in SA, and I'm going to type in my password. And very importantly, we need to uncheck use encrypted connection, otherwise this is not going to work. So uncheck this and then click on next. Amazing. So we can see the two tables which are visible in this select table choose data. So I can see I've got this dbo.employee records, and I've got this dbo transactions. Now I can click on this to just preview the content on the right hand side. I'm just going to wait for some couple of moments, and there we go. We can see all our columns and some selected rows, which is absolutely cool. And then I can click on this employee records also just to check it out to make sure everything is fine. And that's cool. So we can select these two tables, and at the bottom right hand corner, I'm going to click on next, and then we can choose our data destination. Now we can land this data into a lakehouse, a warehouse, or the SQL database. Now this is currently in the preview, so I'm going to land this in our Fabric SQL database. So click on that, and it's going to allow me to choose the workspace and of course the name of the Fabric SQL database. I'm going to call this one data migration, and I'm going to click on create and automatically connect to the data migration new SQL database. Amazing. So we have the map to destination. Now by default, this is going to perform an append operation, but we can always edit this method later on. So I'm not going to focus on that. Now we have the table mapping, the source, and then we've got the destination. Now for the destination, we can change the name if we choose to. We can also click on edit color mapping, but these are fine for this demonstration. I'm going to click on next. And then we have the settings such as using the full copy or an incremental copy. Now, since we just have some small data in each of the tables, I'm going to use the full copy, which is to copy all the data at once. And I'm going to maintain this and click on next. And then we can see the summary of all the information. We can see data source, which is the on-premise connection SQL Server. And we're going to be using the full copy. And then the destination is the data migration, the SQL database, and then we can see the connection name, we can see the number of tables, 2 tables, and so on and so forth. Cool. So we're going to start immediately, which is fine, and we're going to just run this once. So click on save plus run, and then we're going to see the job provision in this copy job canvas, and we can see what's going on. So we have the source and the destination. We can see status as not started. We can see the rows read and so on and so forth. So I'm going to wait for some couple of moments and wait for all of this table to deploy. So you can see this has changed to queued. So let's just wait and see what happens. Amazing. So we can see the run succeeded. So we have the succeeded as status, which is absolutely cool. So we can see the number of rows read, which is 1,903 from this transaction table. And then we can see the number of rows read also and the number of rows written, which is absolutely cool. Now we can click on this just to check it out, the details of the job. So we can see the job coming from the SQL Server and then flowing into the SQL database in Fabric. So we can see the number of data read and the rows read and so on and so forth, the time, the status, and the throughput. So once I'm done, I'm going to close this, and now we can go back to the DP700 exam preparation workspace, and we can see our newly created workspace. Now I'm going to refresh this, and then I'm going to just go outside of this folder, and there we go. So we can see the data migration, and we're going to see our 2 tables under the default database owner. So click on this to expand, and then we can click on this to expand and click on the table object, and there we go. I can just right click and I can select the top 1,000 rows as we do in the on-premise SQL Server, and there we go. Absolutely cool. I can right click on this transaction table, select 1,000 rows, and there we go. So it's as easy as ABC. Using the copy data, you don't need to perform any complex data pipelines. Everything is actually done easily for you for seamless data copying. So I trust you enjoyed this video. If you do, like, comment, and follow me for more videos. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.